So far, we've talked about two sources of experience, the environment and the model. In DirectRL, the agent learns from experience generated by interacting with the world, like in Q-learning. But the agent can also generate simulated experience from the model and use it for planning. Today, we will talk about one way to combine DirectRL and planning called Dyna. By the end of this video, you will be able to understand how simulated experience from the model differs from interacting with the environment. You will also understand how the Dyna architecture mixes DirectRL updates and planning updates. We've seen Q-learning, which performs updates using environment experience. Q-planning, on the other hand, performs updates using simulated experience from the model. We can combine these two ideas through the Dyna architecture. First, we will describe the main components of Dyna. We have the usual environment and policy. They generate a stream of experience. We use this experience to perform DirectRL updates. To do planning, we need a model. The model has to come from somewhere. The environment experience can be used to learn the model. This model will be used to generate model experience. In addition, we want to control how the model generates this simulated experience, what states the agent will plan from. We call this process search control. Planning updates are performed using the experience generated by the model. Let's look at a cartoon of how Dyna works. Here we have a simple maze and a robot trying to find its way out. It's a discounted problem. The robot receives a reward of +1 at the goal and 0 otherwise. As usual, the robot starts out knowing nothing. It randomly traverses the maze until it stumbles on the goal for the first time. Our robot only updates one action value, depicted in blue. This was the only transition that generated non-zero reward. This update is done by DirectRL. Dyna makes use of all the experience generated during the first episode to learn a model of the environment. The yellow states correspond to states visited during the first episode. The robot didn't visit all of them, but it visited most of them. Dyna performs planning on every time step. However, planning has no impact on the policy during the first episode, even though the model became more accurate on each time step. After the first episode completes, planning can really shine. In our cartoon, the thought bubble represents planning happening in the robot's mind. The grid world in the bubble represents the robot's model of the world. The yellow states represent where the model knows what will happen next. The model knows about all the states the robot visited during the first episode. Let's look what happens if we run the planning loop at the beginning of the second episode. Dyna can simulate transitions from any of the state action pairs the agent visited during the first episode. In this case, there are a lot of them. Planning replays these simulated transitions as if they happened in the real world. Each step of planning simply applies the Q-learning update to a simulated transition and updates the value function. With enough planning steps, the agent can approve the policy in all the states visited during the first episode. Here, planning produced a pretty good policy. The policy is not perfect. Can you see where it takes suboptimal actions? The policy is still random in states that were not visited before. We represent these states where the policy was not updated with white squares. Let's see how the planned policy works in the real world. The robot now knows how to get to the goal quickly after just one episode. In comparison, Q-learning will require many episodes to achieve similar performance. Dyna does more computation per step, but uses limited experience more efficiently. Remember, this is only a cartoon. Dyna would act slightly differently than shown here. The robot would continue exploring and planning on each step of the second episode. So the policy would take random actions once in a while, and the policy would continue to change and improve due to planning. We will discuss how to implement Dyna next time. In this video, we introduce the Dyna architecture, which uses DirectRL and planning updates to learn from both environment and model experience. That's all for this video. I hope you plan on coming back next time.